Alrighty, we are back at it the following day, and I just got done hand digging this whole section here. It's probably 6 feet. Did it by shovel right there, and that was a lot of work. The clay soil is pretty wet. It's as with clay soil, it retains water really well, so it was kind of a bear to dig through. Luckily, I didn't hit any rocks. So moving forward, I'm going to take down the fence here because I got to make sure my stabilizers on the backhoe, make sure they fit in the garden. I'm under strict orders not to hit any of the plants.
Nothing's to be removed.
Got to work around the plants in the garden, but fairly pleased with digging this out. I do have some security footage I can probably bring up and show you. Time lapse of me digging that out. Again, it wasn't a lot of fun, but I'm glad I got it done. So, onward. Now, most of the time I've been digging, the trenching bucket has been sort of impacted with this clay soil. It's never really been able to get it out. And this is nothing against the trenching bucket. This is just the conditions of our soil. And digging this up after it rained for a little bit. Clay here in northwestern Vermont. So let's take a look. Pretty pleased with this. This trench this morning is way better than what I did last night, and I might go back and clean it up a little bit up top. It's pretty shallow and so forth, but this whole section here came out really nice. You can see in there everything's clean. I didn't clean my trenches out last night, just sort of dug and got used to using the trenching bucket. So it's a learning curve, but I'm pretty pleased. Saving a lot of money doing it myself. I ended up riding the backhoe over this first part I did last night, cleaning it up. We'll do a little 45 about right here where my foot is, and then we'll set a post. Take another look. Alright guys, I've gone ahead and set the first fence post behind me. It's all set to go. I'm going to use some Sika fence post foam, and I'm going to put that in the hole, and that stuff works really fast. Within 5 minutes it's going to be ready to go. It takes up to 2 hours to fully cure. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the foam and be able to run my PVC pipe from the part I cut away. Things are pretty solid here. Can't move that. Foam's looking really good. All right, guys, I'm on the second post now, closer to the house. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop a bag of Sika fence posts mix in there and just hold the post and level it as it goes. I wouldn't recommend this, but the hole is not very deep and I don't have a lot of space to work with putting additional fill in there to try to keep the post up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it quickly. All right, guys, now we have the trench all dug and the post is mostly set. I think it's a good time to start talking about the type of pipe we're going to use along with all of the connections. I'm using this 3/4 inch black poly irrigation tube. This is 160 PSI. Now the PSI rating is really important because you want to get a high enough PSI rating that will work, especially if you're going to be blowing out this tube at the end of the season. You will notice that my trench is pretty shallow. The reason for that is because I plan to use my air compressor just to blow all the water out. And then the following season, we'll just start using the water again, repeat the process. Okay, down at the workbench now, I want to go over some of the parts and show you each fitting. Now, these are just models I went ahead and put together, but the PVC pipe connections will be much longer in the ground. These will be like 10-foot sections, and then these sections will be cut to size on the posts that I'm using to hook the pipe. First of all, we have a Y adapter that's going to be coming off our garden hose faucet, and this is 3/4 inch throughout. So why I'm using a Y adapter is one side will go to the new connections here for the irrigation to the field and the solar panels and so forth, and this other side will be for our normal garden hose that we want to keep close to the house. So starting on the model for closest to the house, so our first adapter we're using is a garden hose male adapter. It's garden hose in one size male to male threaded pipe, and then it connects to a slip, and its slip just allows PVC to go into it, and it's female pipe thread, so these just connect together, and then this will be glued on to the PVC pipe. Just want to emphasize that whenever you're using any type of thread, you want to be using some kind of Teflon tape or some kind of pipe sealant. I'll be using Teflon tape in this application just because it's readily available and it's easily replaceable. So after the slip, it will go to a PVC pipe. This will head down the post and then to a slip 90-degree connector here, and that'll be glued together. And then it goes to another slip, to another female slip, to another female pipe end connection. And then from there, it's going to go to a male threaded pipe end, which goes to a barb connection. And this barb connection is where our black poly pipe is going to connect to. After that, once you put the black poly on, we'll go ahead and use this stainless steel clamp, which will go over the black poly and tighten everything down. So that takes care of the connection closest to the house. Let's move over to the connection of which will be out in the field. So again, another barb to male pipe end, which will connect to a female slip pipe end, female slip there. PVC pipe, this will probably be 10 feet, and then to a 90-degree slip, and then more pipe going up our post. And this is where it gets interesting. We'll be using a T and its slip on the top and bottom ends, and then in the middle it's a female pipe connection, and I have one of these faucets which will connect here. Again, we'll use Teflon tape when we do the final connection. That will thread in, and then a faucet, and then it has garden hose male connection, so this is where our garden hose will connect. And then at the top, PVC pipe up, and then we go to another slip, but this slip is a little bit different. This is a slip with a male pipe connection, and then we have a cap on top. Again, this will be Teflon. Teflon tape we'll use on the top there. And this will allow us at the end of the season to go ahead and take this cap off, hook up our air compressor on the other end of things, and then we can just blow the water out. And then just put the cap back on, and you're good to go until the next season. I also want to show you these clamps I'll be using for the PVC pipes to secure everything to the posts. These are actually used for electrical conduit, but they'll work great in this project too. I'll use them throughout all the PVC pipes that are on the posts to make sure that the pipe doesn't move. You know, if you're not used to working with PVC, and it can be overwhelming of all these different types of connections, but I'll go ahead and leave links in the description of this video below where you can get all these parts, and hopefully that'll make it easier if you plan on doing a water project like this.